All right, folks, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Top Gun Options members. Welcome to our primary brief this Tuesday morning. Instead of a little turnaround Tuesday, we got a little bit of a relief. I'm going to call it a relief pullback. And, you know, if you can call the Dow being down 300 points, I can't even believe we're in like this new normal where the Dow being down 300 points is nothing. It's like the old days. I remember the old days when a triple digit move, you know, meant the end of the world. I mean, this is just absolutely insane. All right, guys, good morning. Let's go ahead and get airborne with our primary live trade brief. A little bit of I'm going to call it a relief turnaround or a relief pullback from yesterday. You know, I can't even, well, I'm going to be present. Namaste. It's amazing to me that I'll call a 300-point pullback in the Dow, you know, nothing. Remember we're all old enough, we've traded this market for 2-3 months that we remember pre-March when a 300-point down day in the Dow was like the end of the world. Now it's not even, now it's flat. So, you know, and it's funny, my institutional call this morning, you know, uh, not one bearish person, which might be a scary indicator right there. We're going to talk about all this stuff in a little bit, but just a quick summary from that call. It's buy the dips moment. And it's funny because again, sometimes on those calls, I don't have to say anything because, you know, unlike Trump, I don't like necessarily spiking the football. Because a lot of these guys were on the way down March-ish, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, I'm broke. So all the people that told you to buy the dip on the way down that got broke and didn't tell you to buy this rip on the way up are now getting in at the top to buy the rip. That's when you start looking for the exit. There's a Zero Hedge article this morning. I read it and I had tears in my eyes. It's fantastic. Okay. So, personal account disclosures for Top Gun Options employees. And I'm going to mention all employees because Jack and Matthew work for Susie and I. I'm teaching them how to trade options. They're responsible for a trade idea a day, and they have to come pitch it to the investment committee before they go flying. Long Apple, long Microsoft, short American Airlines, short FXI, and that's where we are with that stuff. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying, man. You know, the best thing to do is to teach them how to fish, man. This is probably one of the most disgusting tweets the president has ever retweeted. The man's simply a disgrace. I can't stand when he does this. Deep breaths. Mattis was our country's most overrated general. He talked a lot, but never brought home the bacon. Are you fucking kidding me? He was terrible. Someday I will tell the real story on him and others. He retweeted Sebastian Gorka. I'm not a Marine, but I know the Marines. Jim Mattis is no Marine. Are you insane? Are you with a Pentagon with generals and admirals that were a little on the edge lately with you saying, I'm just going to march troops down Main Street? You're going to poke the United States Marine Corps. I flew in 2 Marine squadrons, the sharpshooters of VMFA T-101 and the snakes, the rattlers of VMFA 323. I can't. Leonard, did I not say that? Too bad you're not as pissed at Mattis as you are at Trump. I am pissed at Mattis. You clearly didn't attend the webinar the other day. I'm not happy with General Mattis. I completely disagree with what he said. That's completely not true. Are you shitting me? I will be more pissed at Donald Trump for slamming a dude that isn't even a Marine, calling a guy not a Marine. Are you shitting me, people? If you support this tweet or Sebastian Gorka for this, this is an absolute disgrace. What the actual fuck? I'm not a Marine. Let's just stop right there. I may not agree with General Mattis, but he's a Marine, and you never wore the uniform, any uniform, let alone that of the United States Marines. Sometimes you need to just STFU. That's disgusting, folks. My God, man. And then just the Gatling gun of make America great. Okay, good. I agree with that. The reawakening of America. That's great. Transition to greatness. That's great. NASDAQ at record highs. Market at record highs. Dude, I understand there's um, you know, exactly. I worked on the joint staff with him. I'm disgusted all the way around. I like your tweet also. This is a disgrace. I'm not happy with the president besmirching a Marine. Okay, I was borderline with him taking a flamethrower to McCain. John McCain was a shitty naval aviator. One of our lifetime members here was in his squadron. You have to meet him at our next live event. A bunch of you met him last time you were in Boca. He lives in Boca. Great American. John McCain sucked as a naval aviator. My God, the time he did the Hanoi Hilton, horrific. I salute his service. As a politician, he was an ass. He lied to the people of Arizona. He told veterans that, hey, suck on the VA care as he hopped in his jet and went to the Mayo Clinic. Why am I ranting about this? It's politics, folks. And between now and the fall, we have got to project our thoughts forward in time. And, I could care less about George Bush, the cokehead beer drinking dude who got us into operation, who, after his dad was, an assassination attempt on his dad in Kuwait, got to go avenge my dad. Colin Powell. Could you imagine if all these guys appear to they go to the Democratic convention? You see Colin Powell or George Bush or General Mattis at the Democratic convention endorsing Biden. Don't tell me that's going to leave a mark, folks. So, this is going to get ugly, guys. I'm telling you. It was nice on this phone call this morning to hear my own acronym come back at me, the DRINC acronym, and one of those letters is coming to the fore. You ready? North Korea assumes warlike posture, cuts off all contact with the South. Virtually overnight, the thaw in inter-Korea relations apparently ended. North Korea leadership announced plans to cut off all communications, including the hotline. So, wow, it's almost like some of this is timed, right? You'd think almost like other world leaders know what's going on in America and know what buttons to push. I told you this is going to happen. Write that down, write that acronym down, put it on a Post-it note, and put it on the top of your computer and stare at it. Okay? So there is a massive storm coming. I'm warning you. What are you talking about? Where's put call ratio and call volume and retail? Woohoo, hedge funds are jumping in. Yep. That's the time when I start slowly walking backwards, taking a drag on my cigarette towards the exit as I throw in a Molotov cocktail and the market implodes. It's going to happen. I told you the other day, I don't want to be right. I don't like down markets. I like happiness. I like peace and harmony and people's 401ks going up. But if that thing's going to burn, I'm going to light my cigarette from it. This is getting euphoric. Okay. Now, I am actually going to read almost every word in this. I'm telling you, I had tears in my eyes. This is fantastic. So strap in, because if you didn't read this, you're reading it now. Because this is this guy's awesome. But this is I spend a lot of time before my day gets started or after the kids go to bed, watching stuff overnight, trying to red team myself and my positions. What am I wrong at? What missile is going to hit me? All that type of stuff. But it's also good to see something laid out so analytically and everything in one place. So I don't even have to like go through the rest of the brief that I wanted to give because it's right here. Listen to this. Here we go. And this was also awesome. Donald Trump mocking, exactly, Karen's like, it's the best. President Trump mocking Warren Buffett for having sold his airline stocks. Stanley Druckenmiller on TV yesterday crying about being humbled by the market, while every Robinhood retail trader piling into ever more calls is laughing all the way to the bank. The professionals got gobsmacked at the complete upside down events in markets compared to any other time in recorded history, given the economic backdrop, while retail is giddy, jumping into any ticker symbol that's moving. Valuations be damned. Hey, let's even chase bankrupt companies. Why not? Look at Hertz, folks. 101%. I talked to a buddy of mine at over at Thinkorswim. He's like, because they follow retail flow. If you don't think, I've already briefed you on this. I briefed the Max and regular Afterburner folks about my background, and we used to watch flow and trades, right? There's a lot of retails jumping into this name. Maybe we jump behind them or jump in front of them, push it higher, and then pound them into the dirt. Hertz, folks, is bankrupt, and retail people are piling into it. Anything goes in the market. Look at this picture. Sometimes you just have to laugh. Look at the picture of the little girl blowing bubbles. Look, I love this chart. Look at the gap ups in the New York Stock Exchange. May, and look at this. Look at May on the Dow, folks. Right? Sometimes you just have to laugh. On the day of the lows, I talked about an awe-inspiring rally coming. Consider me sufficiently awe-inspired. You guys know right there, I joined that train. I was wrong about the W. I got half a W, and then Jerome Powell dropped a nuke. And that's all I needed to see was a nuclear flash. I got it. Right? And now the same folks that told people to buy stocks in January and February, right before the crash, are back out telling people to buy stocks again, except this time at much higher premiums and valuations. Do you guys remember me laughing at Leon Cooperman, who got in trouble with the SEC and his hedge fund, and he had to close it and become a family office? Right? He's up in Boynton Beach, right just north of Boca Raton. Remember old Leon in February and March? Oh, I'd be buying stocks here. Implosion, I'd be buying stocks there. Implosion, I'd be buying stocks here. What an idiot. Why? Because he's long only, folks. Long only hedge fund managers love for you to get in there with them. Misery loves company. My variant take here, which may well turn out to be very wrong, the Fed is setting markets up for another crash. Why? Because they set in motion a stock market mania we have not seen since the 2000 tech bubble. But this time, what's going on, folks? We're in the middle of a recession, right? And it's a mania, and it's important to recognize this. And like all manias, it ends badly. The amount of evers keep building. Biggest this ever. The Donald Trump tweets evers. We have the highest market valuations ever. There's one. The market cap to GDP, folks, was 151% on Friday's close. What? Yeah. You can't even look at this. This is the highest amount of speculative call buying, folks. These are small traders buying calls to open. Look at the financial crash when I'm sitting in the board of trade and the CBOT. Look at today. Okay? You ready? This is an ever. I've never seen anything like this. Okay? We have seen the lowest put call ratios ever. What does that mean? Meaning everything is one-sided and complacent. Puts to calls. This is why last week, what did I tell you with my knees and my neck hurting? There's a storm coming, going out to September or October, and buying puts or getting long volatility. You'd be stupid not to. I mean that with the full weight and force of that word. If your portfolio is long only right now, you're going to get destroyed. Remember this brief. I will. I've already written it down. I've never seen the put to call ratio like this. I've been doing this for 28 years. We also, shockingly, have the highest unemployment ever and the least since the post-World War II period. 10.8% in 1982, the year my sister died. Friday's jobs report was as accurate as the Fed's inflation model. Total misrepresentative of the real economy, as 4.9 million unemployed people were counted as employed. Holy shit, folks. Trump didn't interfere with the jobs numbers, folks. These are booger eaters. Can anybody right now, without looking, tell me the real unemployment number in the United States of America? Go. You have to type it in 3, 2, 1. You didn't get it. What is the real unemployment number? It's called U6 right here. May 2020 is 21.2. Holy shit. Now, other than that, Ms. Lincoln, how was the play? It's down from April, but what? So technically, Secretary Mnuchin was right. If we don't do all this stimulus stuff, senators, at lunch in February or March, we will see 20% unemployment in America. We're seeing 20% unemployment by America. Back here. Fact is, we are historically in a disastrous environment. I mean, that chart just doesn't even, I can't even. And of course, what are we witnessing? The largest deficit, approximately 4 trillion, and monetary intervention ever. Look at M1, folks. Again, I've never seen anything like this. Okay. The largest disconnect from corporate profits ever, even worse than the dot-com bubble, folks. Recessions, gray. Corporate profits after tax. S&P 500 stocks. Anybody see a difference, a delta between the black line and the orange line? Hell, I'm a political science major and I can see this. Wow. I can't even. Let's keep going. This is fantastic. The S&P 500 SPX is now farther disconnected from its 50-day moving average than pretty much ever before. Here comes the bulls, Leon and all these dudes and everybody. Exactly, Karen. We do need a new name. Bizarro market isn't even close. Insane market. Bizarro, I could understand. Insane? The only precedence, ladies and gentlemen, for all of this was, you ready? 2009, when the markets retraced to the 50-day and then rallied up from there to new highs. Back then, it took years. Perhaps this time it will take weeks. Who will say in this environment? My point here, the combination of all these factors has contributed to the largest dislocation, here's an ever seen, only perhaps rivaled since the NASDAQ bubble of 2000. QE1, QE2, Operation Twist, QE4, repo. That's another name for the Fed. So there's, and I get it, folks, but you know, except now we have trillion-dollar market cap companies that trade at massive forward multiples. Do you know the earnings that some of these companies have to hit, Apple, Microsoft, in order to justify the stock price today? It's physically impossible. I mean, hell, Apple was closed around the world for 2 months. Disney, and are experiencing unseen multiple expansion during a time where there is, folks, we joked for the past 2 months about PE. How do you have a PE ratio when there ain't any E? And that's the definition of a mania. Pause for effect, Wiz. Yeah, I am. Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you right now, we are in a mania. To steal a Greenspan, irrational exuberance. exuberant embracing of a vertical stock market rally by a majority of people of stock market valuations that are entirely unrealistic and untethered from the economic reality on the ground. A complete disregard for risk in markets that move vertically in one direction. I get it, though, folks. Jim Cramer, we're back. The president, we're back. Larry Kudlow, we're back. I get it, folks. We can't be Eeyore, right? Trump, Mnuchin, Powell. We'll find out about Powell tomorrow. What are they going to do? Walk out and? But they have to do a better job, in my opinion, paying a little homage and empathy, first of all, to the race relations, but second of all, to people who ain't in the stock market, who are unemployed, who still haven't gotten unemployment benefits. The state of Florida sucks. There's still like 1 million or 2 million people down here who haven't seen a check since March. Yeah, Larry Kudlow, the same person that declared the coronavirus contained before it killed 100,000 people. And he also said, we're killing it on the economy only for a couple months before it collapsed, right? Folks, Peter Navarro is a smart dude. Peter Navarro, after getting the briefing in January, sat in the back of the room and said, holy shit. He kind of did a Valerie Jarrett, didn't he? Valerie Jarrett, last hour in office as the National Security Advisor. Dear me, we've been investigating the president-elect and General Flynn, and the president said to do it by the book. Love me. What do you think? We're retarded, lady? But, what's his name? Navarro, after that brief, he didn't send it to himself. He sent it to Trump. He said, Mr. President, this thing is coming, and it's horrific, and it's going to destroy the economy. Anyway, I know. Oh, well, here you go. I know it's an election year, and they have to cheerlead. The polls are looking terrible for Trump. I get 96% of Republicans support him, and Powell was never a Republican. He's a rhino. Mitt Romney's a disgrace. I want my vote back from Romney and McCain. And I don't care about. They're not Republicans. They never were. More and more traditional Republicans are getting vocal and not supporting him. Last week, it was James Mattis and other generals that rebuked him. John Kelly, former chief of staff. I love John Kelly. His son, First Lieutenant Kelly, was killed in Afghanistan. If he slams John Kelly, I will go out and I will become the biggest Biden supporter. You hear me, Donald? I swear to God. And this weekend, it was George Bush, Romney, and Colin Powell. It all reeks of desperation, and I keep coming back to this point. Here it comes, folks. I didn't write this article, but welcome aboard, dude who wrote this article. What happens when markets suddenly price in a Democratic win in November? The tax landscape I would be in the Caymans or Turks, or I'm moving to Spain. You hear me. Stocks already massively stretched would have to contend with further reductions. Folks, I'm telling you, if the market catches a whiff that Joe Biden wins, it will be down 25 to 50%. How will I know that? I won't know that until when? That night. Remember this night? Here's the New York Times, folks, at 10:20 p.m. I can't even look at that face, man. So I don't think this is going to have that violent disconnect until election night if it looks like the dude's going to win. You have got to be Johnny on the spot. If you aren't, I told you yesterday, folks, as this market's going up, if you're not buying October protection, you're a fool. And I said it again at the beginning of this. Goldman Sachs is crunching the numbers on the impact. I'm just telling you, folks, it's going to be also reopening everywhere, but where is the evidence of a drastic reduction in COVID cases? Yes, a slowdown in key states, blah, blah. I'm going to ignore the COVID stuff because I disagree with the guy. If we weren't told about COVID, we would have never noticed it. I'm sorry, folks, but 100,000 deaths in 2.5 months is a rounding error. It's horrific for each number of that 100,000 is a person, man. I've lost people. I've lost a father, a sister, brothers in the military, and a sister. It's horror. But being Gordon Gekko, nobody cares. Heart disease, cancer, freaking DUIs, or people killed by drunks. Anyway, Exactly. Only essentially New York City was a catastrophe, and it was. But COVID is largely ignored now as a risk factor, despite the fact that blah blah. I don't care anymore. We nailed it probably to the day or within a couple days of COVID fatigue. Remember what happened on the way down? I warned you we'd get COVID fatigue and the market would rally, and it did. Yeah, a week ago 2 weeks ago we were arresting, people for opening their business to feed their families. Now we're not even arresting the looters for burning those businesses down. So you tell me, the virus is not gone. The numbers are bigger than ever, tremendous. Believe me, trust me, like you've never seen before. And now we're entering a new phase. I seriously doubt there's any political will to shut the economy down again. I posted this on Facebook. I'm like, there will be no second shutdown in front of the election. Even governors, no. You want to see, yeah, maybe then you'll see riots out of other people. It's not going to happen. The governor of Michigan, oh, wow, there's a second wave, so we're going to shut everything down again. That's not going to happen. If you let this happen, you're not going to close us again. That will be a revolution, folks. Also, in the next few weeks, what do we get? Earning reports, reality checks. As it stands, markets and individual stocks are stretched to the hilt. I can't even. Oof. And massively stretched charts reflecting no economic reality, with tech taking the cake with new all-time highs far above the upper monthly Bollinger Band again. Manias are reason defying by definition, and they can go farther than anyone expects. Insert whizzism. The market can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Too strong is the draw and chase of the Fed put, which is advertised as delivering the S&P 500 turning green for the year this week. Look for the S&P 500 to turn positive for the year with a boost from the Fed in the week ahead. I'm warning you, ladies and gentlemen. Jerome Powell might not have read this article or what this dude was saying. He's smart enough to know it. I have no idea what Jerome Powell is going to say tomorrow. He's going to say some good stuff about jobs and stuff like that in the economy, but he might put a little lightning scarecrow into this mania. We saw Janet Yellen become a hedge fund manager. I think we were in an accelerated retirement brief. I'll never forget her comment. I think biotechs are overbought here or overstretched. I spit my coffee out. What did the woman just say? The chairwoman of the Federal Reserve, that press conference, called biotechs overvalued. What? So let's all stop pretending that the Fed sits in their ivory tower and full employment and monetary policy, inflation. They're looking at the damn stock market, folks. And if you're Jerome Powell, you got to be a little bit worried. I'm not saying the dude's coming out tomorrow and taking the punch bowl away or swinging for higher interest rates. But do you remember back it feels like years ago? It was years ago. When was it? Last October? Whenever the hell it was, folks. When he came out and wanted to raise interest rates, we had that October 4th, the death of the markets. Yeah, it was 2 years. Whenever. I remember, man. There it is. October 4th. I'll never forget where I was. Everybody remember this? And then the Mnuchin Christmas phone call to banks. This was a bear market, folks. This was an 18% implosion. Everybody remember that? When he even hinted that he was going to raise interest rates. That sentiment at the moment, and probably most frustrating aspect of the mania, the most reckless look at the most right and the most reasonable, the fools for not chasing or trying to fade. FOMO, thanks to POMO. Fear of missing out is because of permanent open market operations by the Fed. Will they go straight for that 3,300 plus gap from February? I can't say. I suppose in an environment where nothing fundamental matters, anything can happen. This week, Powell will add more programs and perhaps yield curve control. Every aspect of these markets is manipulated at the moment, and every tiny dip is relentlessly bought, as in any mania. Yet the size of the dislocations continue to strengthen the sell case, and indeed the number of open gaps are increasingly looking to be the Achilles heel of this market, never mind historic valuations. And guess what? All those gaps last year when the market seemed invincible, all of them filled. This market has some gap filling to do, especially in context of a VIX that looks like it wants to party again. I like that. That was well written. Let's end this, but that's everything I was going to say in this brief in here. I appreciate this guy. It saved me a lot of time. We have some stuff to cover, but this is insane. Can the Fed control the market equation? For now, it clearly has, but it's created a bloated pig of a market as a result. And this pig is now big and fat, and any sizable reversion can in itself shake the very confidence and optimism the Fed has sought to propagate. Let me translate that into whizzism. This, ladies and gentlemen, could be another Fred Sanford. But Wiz, I thought you said there's a $10 trillion put underneath this market. There is, until there isn't. The Pope coming out and saying hell doesn't exist, and then all of a sudden Satan showing up, doesn't mean hell doesn't exist. The Fed only jawboned this market higher, folks. It really didn't put in the shit. I've told you, you don't want to retest the March lows because we won't. We will go right through them. So this is the summary of all of this morning. You ready for this? The last time I felt like I feel this morning was in 1999 at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar when I had ELOT, Pets.com. When I remember what my portfolio looked like. Everything was going up. Nothing would go down. Markets in the economy can't live on multiple expansion alone, but this is what the market ran on in 2019, and it's what it's running on again. To think it's different this time is to count on it being different this time. It is. Well, in one respect, it already is different this time. The first stock mania inside of a recession. I've never seen that. Not discounted far below at all-time highs, but rather sitting on top of the largest disconnect between the economy and the stock market ever. Inside of a recession, no less. Golf clap. NASDAQ composite erases coronavirus losses to seize new record. Obviously, this is based on yesterday, but what are we down a little bit? NASDAQ's down 24, 25 right now. So, this is I told you I had tears in my eyes as I read that. I'm like, we talked about all of that. He did a great job putting it all in one place. Okay. We have to wait a day. Why did I pause there? Here's why. Because after the jobs report, it was medium. Nothing is going to matter today except for tomorrow. Exactly. It is all about Powell, not Colin, Jerome. I love the media frothing at the mouth about Powell. He voted for Obama, folks. You think he was going to vote for Trump? What are you, stupid? Colin Powell should have been the first African-American president. His wife didn't want him to run because she felt that he would be assassinated. Do you know that? I do. I've met the man. He came on to give a speech after he's like, I have to follow you. I'm like, oh my God, did you just say that, dude? What a great freaking American. But yeah, he should have been the first African-American president. Why is Amazon up today? Because just about 9 houses upgraded it to 3,000. I'm like, duh. All right, let me finish this and we'll get tactical. Recession, talked about that. Wall Street. I'm still laughing about this yesterday. Wall Street has no consensus. Forecasts from analysts about the market and the economy are ranging from financial Armageddon to a second swift half recovery. Right? So, talked about that. Talked about that yesterday. Stanley Druckenmiller. It's just comical. The dude's a billionaire charging people money to manage, and he's what, up 3% during the year. We could find that in our Apple bull put spread from yesterday. Yeah, whoever just said, yeah, this. Well, a lot of you that are in weekly options are in the primary brief. Yeah, man, if it's up 50, holy shit, it's up 70% in a day. Go on, take the money and run. That's a $2,000 profit in one day. You're welcome. I'm gonna go 16 cents to close this one. One day, $2,000. Beautiful weekly options trade. 70% gains, 66% gain. Yep. Okay, here we go. Let me go back. Let's go back in time. Yeah, it's awesome. I would get, listen to me, I would get out of that trade today. Listen to me. We might be sitting on our hands today, folks. When there's no consensus on my institutional call about what Powell's going to do, I don't do anything. Last week, China, Brazil riots in Vegas. Some of you stayed in the MGM calls. God bless America. Those were disgusting profits. What's MGM doing today? No, well, I would look to reattack on this trade up to 20. Yeah, I mean, those were insanity. Absolute insanity. No, I would not get into them right now. Back into them. Let's. The first thing I'm going to do, and the Dow's off the lows of the day. So I told my afterburner group I might do a midday 9 line because I did think we would turn around. I wasn't going to get bearish at the open. I was actually going to get bullish. Damn it. Yep. There you go. I think we're going to turn around today. These dips are to be bought. We're back. I'm the opposite of the smart money, so to speak. Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. I'm like, oh my God, all those people are dumb. Now this is a little bit of a breather. This isn't a massive pullback, folks. Remember, now we are dealing with little old lady in tennis shoes and FOMO. And for the first time, again, folks, this is history. The only left side of the chart that I'm going to look at is from here on. It's over with, folks. For the first time in my 28 years of trading, it feels like the institutional investors are chasing retail. You want to talk about bizarro market? Finally, mom and dad and everybody else has realized that, when I go to mafia dinner now and all this type of stuff, and dudes actually know what the Fed is or what they've done. This is funny. When you got Stanley going, dude, I'm humbled that I'm getting my ass kicked by, some stay-at-home mom and dads. Yeah. Right? So, all right. So last week we had opened the doors to the Full Throttle. Welcome to all the new Full Throttle folks. Hopefully you had a fantastic week last week. We debriefed XOY in a separate service yesterday. A couple weeks ago we did, remember this one, DRINC, TF squared, EWZ. It all makes sense now. It did, folks, right? Those of you who got into EWZ long calls when I said I was going to and I didn't, I failed. Just your printing number. You're literally your Jerome Powell printing money since that day. But I'm going to take. Is there anybody? I have October. I need to put that in my disclosure. I have. I'm telling you, we might get to this 3,400 before the election. I am 100% certain. September or October is going to be awful. I'm warning you. Write down the date and time. I'm doing another Paul Revere, folks. Another Paul Revere. The same thing I did here, I'm doing here. Okay. Is there anybody who doesn't have their September or October protection on? I think we actually went out to November to talk about this, to cover just in case. I mean, the VIX isn't up that much today. I don't know. Jeff, when your spidey sense goes off, let's buy VIX. Gary, volatility's coming. Yeah, I love the way the guy wrote that in that article. He's like, looks like volatility wants to go to a dance right now, and I agree. The the biggest unknown right now are Donald Rumsfeld. The known unknown is Jerome Powell tomorrow. Nothing else matters short term, right? Because I'm telling you, folks, I've seen Jerome Powell too. I forget, they all run together, the Jerome Powell press conferences. I remember the whole sitting there waiting on a word, and he changed it and this and that, and sitting here watching the S&P 500 move around. Jerome Powell knows everything that I know, if not a hell of a lot more. And he knows that this market is overextended. But what does Uncle Jerome also know? He would be getting a brief from a guy like me that says, hey, man, I just talked to my buddy at TD Ameritrade. Mom and Pop are in this thing. Like, does Jerome Powell come out tomorrow and kick the teeth in of retail traders? Do you really want to do that, Jerome? Right? John, before election, Trump, Powell trying everything to prop it up. Dem hedge fund guys sell it to bring it down. John, so let's just do a quick review, because I know some of you are new and you might not have seen this acronym. This is coming, folks. Did you see last week the IAEA? What did the IAEA report last week, folks, that the liberal media didn't tell you? Iran has doubled the nuclear enrichment. They are, if they don't right now, I know we put one of their places out of commission for a good amount of time. Thank you, F-35s and hypersonic weapons. Here's the acronym you need to write down, folks. Democrats, Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. Either individually or in concert and not knowing they're in concert, all of these entities are going to do whatever they can to destroy Donald Trump in September or October, or maybe even the day before the election, man. Every one of them. Not one of those letters on the screen wants Joe Biden wants Donald Trump for another 4 years. Not one of them. I mean, let me rephrase that. Putin might. Putin spent I spent $100,000 in Facebook ads. So, Putin spent $100,000 in Facebook ads and tore this country apart for 3 years. That dude could not be more happy. At the end of the day, when I had drinks with a buddy, he's like, dude, he didn't care. He didn't want Trump he didn't care who won, Clinton or Trump. As long as he got what he got, and he got it. Bob Mueller. You want to talk about a Marine I have zero respect for, or 0.01%? It's Bob Mueller. Kevin, very good point. If you're sitting there going, oh my God, well, how's the president get on defense? A year to 2 years ago, folks, what did Trump threaten? I'm going to declassify everything. I'm like, do it. And he hasn't. Everybody in this room should know that the United States Attorney, I think in Connecticut, is working. Just remember, I always laugh about this. Like, just because CNN isn't paying attention to Iran doesn't mean, Muhammad doesn't go down into the shaft and yell to all the dudes building a nuke. Hey, fellas, let's call it a day. Actually, call it a couple months until they start looking at us again. Stop building no, folks. I remember being on the Kitty Hawk. I'm like, Susie, how about, us dropping bombs or something like that? She's like, we didn't hear anything back here. I'm like, oh my God, man. Shit's going on around the world, folks. China invading Taiwan in front of the election. What does Donald Trump do? Does he risk American lives and go to war to defend an island nation? American lives? The same dude who campaigned on bringing us out of endless wars? Folks, if we're sitting here talking about this on a GoToWebinar, they're talking about it in a room in China or in the Pentagon. Okay? So, and it's funny because I had lunch yet or breakfast, whatever it was, hanging out, coffee. I heard what you guys, whatever. Old dude kind of overheard, kind of rude, but he was a nice enough guy. When I explained this acronym to him. He's like, "Holy shit, this is an old guy, like kind of in a brokerage account." He's like, "Do you think those things will impact the market?" I'm like, "Oh my God, dude." I'm kind of just looking at this guy like, "Are you high?" Okay. um. So Karen, I don't know if that's the October surprise, man. I on my whiteboard in my office here, I got shit all up. I throw stuff up there, man. When I hear it, I see it, I feel it. I am. This is a whiz moment. I'm going to remember this webinar. This is a January 22nd webinar. This is a Feb whatever it was 15 webinar. Now I don't think this happened anytime soon, folks. I could be wrong, man. If Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow and strikes a lightning bolt, we might see some a little bit more of a healthy pullback. But look how far above the moving averages we are, folks. Like that dude said, look how far above the 50 we are. Not that that's no, folks. You're inverted. That's the 200. This is the 50. Okay. Jerome Powell, ladies and gentlemen, remember what happened. What was that jerk's name? The New York Fed. Somebody get me that link real quick. The New York Fed head, Obama appointee, who did what? Like 4, 5, 6 months ago, whenever it was, he's like, Jerome Powell should raise interest rates right now to cripple the Trump presidency. Do you remember that bullshit? It was sedition. It's like it was financial treason. The Federal Reserve, ladies and gentlemen, that day had to come out with a unprecedented statement. I've never seen this in 28. It was 27 at the time. 27 years of trading. The New York Fed had to go. We ain't political, man. We kind of denounce that type of talk. Maybe it was Bill Dudley. Folks, if you didn't know this happened, sit up straight. The former Fed chief of the New York Federal Reserve, kind of the heads of the 12 families, said Jerome Powell should raise rates to cripple this president to make sure he doesn't get reelected. Like Bill Maher, that scumbag quote comedian. I want us to go into a recession. I want Americans to feel pain so they don't vote for Trump. Folks, if you're not, this is I see the matrix, man. I've been doing this long enough to know that what's going on here, man, and to try and bend around the bullets. So a couple things we can do. It is absolutely time to hedge. If you're looking at your portfolio today and it's all up, you're doing it wrong. Unless you're trading some inverse ETF that's red, that's your hedge. I'm telling you, man, my exactly, who said it a while ago, spidey sense, man, my whiz sense, so to speak, is very tingling. We will, in the short term, in my opinion, be pulled up to 3,400. It's a magnet, man. People are talking about it. My call this morning, I was a little quiet this morning. I'm like, I'm standing on the back of the chariot saying all glory is fleeting. We might hit that, folks, but this is a coming. Let me draw like a lightning bolt out of a cloud here. There's a storm coming. All right, so enough jawboning because everybody's asking about November, December puts and everything like that. I already put some on, but I'm going to review it. I didn't get, well, actually, it's a good time to cover it because I didn't get filled on it. The instrument that's going to get kicked in the teeth the most will be the Russell, right? Over here, I have to use IWM. Do not trade IWM. It's an ETF. Do not trade an ETF when you can trade an index, period. Okay. So why the rut? Well, folks, because the S&P 500 has the FAGMs in it. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft. Don't get me wrong. If we have a DRINC, D-R-I-N-C, and something horrific happens, they're going to get hit too. They're not going to get hit as hard. For the love of God and all things holy, take a look at a chart of Amazon through this crisis, quote unquote. Here's the end of the world in March. There's Amazon. Holy shit, up 44 bucks today. Everybody happy in solo Amazon? So, but the S&P 500, it will get hit with any sort of massive pullback. But the Russell, folks, it's called the Russell 2000. The RUT has 2,000 names. It doesn't have 500. If we get a DRINC, something, and look, we're almost, look at this. What's that? 1,700. 1,700 is like 2,400 on the S&P 500. Okay, we're at 1,560, 70. Wow. At a minimum, I mean, Russell 1,000 would be really cheap. That's where we bottomed out, right? Russell 1,000. I almost don't want to buy October or September and November Russell 1,000 puts because that means I'm manning a machine gun nest in the front of my house and the back. But those would be pretty cheap, wouldn't they? I would almost look at just the 50-day. 1,280. Holy shit, Arthur, nice job. I'm up 42 grand in Amazon on one synthetic stock with protective put. Whew. 42 grand. Nice job, Arthur. So now that I have my target, I'm kind of verbally stepping through a trade plan. Let's fly out. Where would I go? And I didn't get filled in the model portfolio or my PA or Susie's PA on this. So this is what I am doing for this this primary portfolio. Okay. Nove, I would go out to Nove. Why? November 20th. Why? First of all, that's the third Friday of the month. It covers the election. If something bad happens in September, October, those puts cover that badness as well. It just makes sense. I would rather go out a little further. Going out to October 30th, I mean, I think there will be an October surprise, but knowing the way the world is today with Hillary Clinton, the New York Times, the night before the election, how can you be that stupid? I wasn't. I was flying around the United States doing a ton of keynotes. I was speaking my ass off. I was talking to regular people. Regular people don't answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night to take a poll. Anyway, what was that? What is that? 1280. 1280 is nice. Buzz, I'm loving this plan. Folks, take this moment to know whenever there's massive euphoria going on, imagine that guy standing over your shoulder going, all glory is fleeting. These are the times, folks, when things get, now don't get me wrong. We got an Apple bull put spread, Amazon bull. You trade the market you have, but now is when you learn to be a Jedi Master options trader. This is when the spidey sense should be tingling, and this is when you go out in the future, you buy some puts, and you sleep better at night. Because if you are in this long only portfolio, everything's green today, yay, you're nuts. Take some of that yay profit and buy some insurance. The Dow's only down 150 now. Shit. I was going to do a turnaround trade on SPX. I told my Max Afterburner group, I'm like, dude, this thing's going to turn around. I would buy the dip here. Damn it. Yet. So lesson learned. I knew it was going to turn around. I was going to trade bearish at the open here because after the first 15 to 30 minutes, this should have been a damn it. Whatever. All right, let's go back. Resistance is futile. All right, let's go back out to the rut. 1280. I'd be buying the 1280 puts out to the November expiry. Let's bring up 1280. Now remember, folks, if you're like, wow, I can only just buy one. That's a lot. What was it 1280? Oh, that's S&P 500. Duh. Rut row. And then we'll talk volatility. We can kind of let's kind of Marty Feldman getting some long-term puts on, but maybe some short-term. Maybe the VIX is getting ready to go to a dance, and we put some short-term on. 1280. Yeah, well, all right, I'll do that. In this case, I don't mind doing the IWM, and in that case, it would be 130, 120. Whoops, 120. Let's just do this. Yeah, if the rut's going to be very cost prohibitive. Was the expiration wrong? No. Let's see. Rut, R-U-T. Why does it keep? I hate when it does that. It comes up. I deselected the front month. Nov 20 AM 1280. Buy. Nov 20 1280. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Even two of these folks is worth it. Even one of them. If you're not swinging it, you could use IWM. How about bear call spreads to lower cost? Jim, absolutely not on the front months, guys. Listen to me. Let's go. Everybody, does everybody know who Marty Feldman is? I briefed the Max Afterburner folks using this analogy. It's fun. Let me show you, Marty. You should know who Marty Feldman is. Everybody should know who Marty Feldman is. You ready? Let me find my slides real quick. This is Marty Feldman. So this is this is great. So this is from a Max Afterburner brief towards the bottom of the market, guys. I said we need to be Marty Feldman right now. Meaning what? No one will pick the bottom. These are slides from March, folks. No one got the bottom right. There's not one. I remember, who was it? The CNBC commentator, Mark Haynes, the guy that passed away. He was a great dude. I respected him. He was impartial. All these other liberal pieces. Anyway, nobody picked this bottom. I've seen not one person that got it to the day. We got pretty damn close. It was easy. Not because I was smart. It's because I understand when the Fed drops a nuke, you pay attention. We can get close. We did. Dueling trades. So here you go. We can have dueling trades right now, folks. We could be long and short the same name, for example, right? We could have puts out to November on the rut while doing front month bull spreads to pay for it, not bear spreads, folks. We got FOMO and POMO going on right now. I am absolutely in the short term bullish like you read about in Bullish Magazine. Until tomorrow, unless Uncle Jerome says, here's a bolt of lightning, scarecrow, and then it does take a break. For example, let's flip these because this was March. We could be bullish front month and bearish back month. But here's Marty Feldman. Marty Feldman was in what? Young Frankenstein, what else was he in? The Princess Bride, whatever. He was a British actor. So with the googly eyes. So I use that as like, that's how you can be trading right now, right? That's what I'm getting at with that analogy. Okay. So we could actually, let me go over to here to this account. All right. Got filled on Apple, man. $2,000 in a day. Knew it was going to turn around. I think I wanted to buy back my Microsoft stuff. Hold on, let me rut, and then we'll look at volatility. Deselect that. Fly to the future. I can't wait to be in November, man. What a time it is to be living, man. Buy two. The 1280s. And you're going to have to come between the bid and the ask to get filled. If you hit the ask, you'll get filled in the blink of an eye, and everybody's going to laugh at you because you're immediately going to be losing money. Unless you really, really want them right now, come in at the ask. If you want to save a couple coins, maybe you come in at somewhere between the mid and the ask. Ain't ever going to get filled at the bid or the mid when you're buying puts, okay? Yeah, guys, I'm not, the answer is no. Whoever asked that, I am done with the inverse, triple, reverse, Lindy, bearish with a twist, pro shares, whatever. Do not do any of those ever again. You all know Jeremy Siegel, right? The booger eater, Wharton business school guy. That's Wisdom Tree, his CNBC commercials. 2 of his funds blew out, the oil inverse leveraged ETFs. Folks, you can get an email one day that says your positions are gone. Do you give me a vertical head nod if you don't understand that? iShares, ProShares, Spider, they're companies, ladies and gentlemen. Companies can go to zero, ETFs can go to zero, just as stocks can. If you get caught on the wrong side of a triple reversed inverted Lindy with the smoke on ETF, you deserve everything bad that's going to happen to you. I'm warning you not to do that. They are extremely dangerous. They rebalance daily. They have contango and backwardation in there. I'm telling you right now not to do that. You bet, man, puts would be cheaper. Andres, why not wait a bit, waiting for the top? Andreas, tell me where the top is. I'll wait. Still waiting. How do you know where? Is your call sign Nostradamus? How do you know where the top is? What if Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow? Breaking news, Jerome Powell says the economy's overheating. He's raising interest rates. The Dow is down 3,000 points. Can it happen? Yeah. Will it? I don't know. Right? Folks, no. I said the market, let's just pretend this is the S&P 500. I said 3,400 is a magnet, folks. Guys, I don't kind of string along my gas looking for a potential landing area, and then all of a sudden all the landing areas are cloudy and I flame out. Almost nobody except me calls the top right, and I don't, folks. I'm giving you both sides of the story here. On the way up to something, folks, is when you get your protection on. Nobody's going to time that perfectly. I could be wrong. Breaking news, North Korea has invaded South Korea. The Kospi is down 50%, and the futures are down 10,000% in the U.S. Folks, I would rather be early on buying protection than late. My father, God bless my father, he'd come to visit. Hey, Matthew, can you take me to the airport tomorrow at 8? Why? You catch an earlier flight? No, my flight leaves at 3. I just want to be there early so I don't miss it. Anybody else's parents like that? Why did he say that? He's like, I'll sit there with a book and I'll be fine. I just want to be there. He was right. Even though I thought my father was important enough, there was no way if my dad showed up to the gate a minute late, they would pull the jet back to the jet bridge. Do not be late. Exactly. The XIV went to 0 in 2018. Okay. Exactly, Renee. Good way to put that. Protection does not work late. Ladies and gentlemen, please, 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 you have got to, you do, I've seen it, folks. I've seen people like, I'm going to wait until the market tops. Holy shit, it did, and I missed it. So the people saying, why not wait for the top, are telling me right now by that question that they don't have their protection on right now, which freaks me right the hell out. Exactly. Buy fire insurance before the house burns down, not after. Mike, birth control doesn't work after you're pregnant. Good point. I'm doing this. Let's go. I'm running late. I got a bunch of calls to make, man. Good stuff going on with the foundation, but also with our trading, man. This is good. This is good stuff. I got some potential max afterburner news. Kind of like a duck, looking calm on top of the water. My feet are moving pretty damn fast. Okay. Obviously, the metrics of a long put are the metrics of a long put. The profit is limited because the rut can go to 0. If the rut goes to 0, it's Armageddon. So I don't want that to happen. Okay, but I'm putting on some protection, man. I do not sit in my house every month and yell about the USA auto insurance home and life that I have on and how I'm losing money on it. If you just think this is all bullshit and the market's just going to keep going higher, sit on your hands and laugh as I put this on. And then trust me, I will be laughing in October or November at you. And I will be, because I hate stupid people, man. If you do not get some protection on, I'm serious, folks, you deserve the pain you're going to get. And I say that so it wakes you up a little bit. I love this one guy. He's like, I'm sick of the way this guy talks to me. I really don't care. You've clearly never served a day in a fighter squadron. Respectful truth over artificial harmony. I'm not going to blow sunshine. That's not my job, man. You want a friend? Get a dog. Right? So, yeah, whoever said, the rut ain't cheap, folks. A good substitute. It's kind of like Amazon and XLY. A good substitute for trading the rut would be using the Russell iShares. But folks, I'm telling you, man, years ago I stopped doing these things. The ProShares Ultra Short S&P 500. Folks, the word ProShares means you can get an email tomorrow that says, due to unfortunate market events and rebalancing, your position is worth nothing. Do not reply to this email. Exactly, Gary. As we get closer to the election, our protection will turn to offensive trades. Okay. So and I know I'm running late, but a little bit of short-term protection can't hurt, man. The VIX is up 3.5% today. Nice little, it's pulled back since the market gained most of the losses back here. Gotta use the VIX chart over here. Let's just take a look at an intraday of the VIX. Yeah, look at that. So there's the market coming off the lows, but it's hanging. So we're hanging with this $1.50 down on the Dow. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would buy some VIX calls as a hedge against Jerome. This is fantastic. I love this stuff, man. I live for this stuff. It's awesome. I'm literally going to be sitting in my big office chair, feet on the desk tomorrow, on a conference call, institutional call, as we listen to Jerome. Remember the briefcase indicator with Greenspan when he went in to testify? If he had a big briefcase, rates were going up, whatever it was. I forget what it was. Nobody, I'd love, this is like billions, man. Axe Capital. You want to go find out this is a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even, I got buddies who have tried, John Hilsenrath at the Wall Street Journal, we used to call the Fed whisperer, because I'm fairly damn certain somebody at the Fed was kind of the deep throat that said, hey, float this and let's see how the market reacts. That's exactly what happened during those Ben Bernanke times. Like, hey, why don't 2 days before the Fed meeting, you put an article that says the Fed might be thinking this, and then they gauge the market reaction. This shit happens, folks. So I would go out. Let's take a look. I'd go out a couple weeks, man, not just out the Friday to give Uncle Jerome, because if this does turn into a little bit, I'm stunned by this, but I'm not. Because remember, look at this, folks. Let me go back to S&P. That is my battle space. Secretary Esper, you coward. Here's my battle space. From the Fed bottom, we've seen rallies, pullback, rally, pullback, rally, pullback, rally, pullback, rally, flat, rally. I think we should get at least something. But the market can remain irrational longer. You can stay solid. But if we do get a little bit of a pullback, which I would love, I'd love a little bit of a pullback here, because it would have out some fire scarecrow to a lot of retail traders. You folks, you guys are becoming pro amateurs. Why? Because you're luring them into our trap. We'll be ready for this. They will be wiped. So maybe let's cover a week and a half. We got 19s. I haven't traded the VIX in a while, folks. The 17 Wednesday expiration. I might go 24. That's a pretty long time, though. But like why don't I take my own advice in the lecture of I'd rather be early than late. What are some 0.8 delta calls? The 23s. Let me go over here. Sorry. Options, VIX, June 24th, the 23s. Buy. And again, as a hedge, I'd probably be looking at 15, 20 of these. Perfect. That's right at my 10. I'm instead of percentage of portfolios, I'm kind of sticking to dollar amounts for now in this type of scenario. We can talk into that in full throttle training as to why. Okay. I would buy, and again, you ain't gonna get filled at the mid. We're gonna have to kind of walk it on up a little bit here. I'm gonna sit there at 540 for a little bit. I'm gonna buy 20 of the June. You know what? Before I mumble through the trade here, which you can see on the screen, to the people out there, and I hope there might be, who are sitting here going, I could not disagree more with everything you're saying. I love it. That's what makes a market, right? A buyer and a seller. Do the exact opposite of what I am doing. Wiz, I think this rally continues. I don't think blah, 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 blah. You're wrong. You could be on the other side of those puts, and you could be on the other side of these calls. And I'll meet you at the merge at 25,000 feet, 400 knots. Guns only, fights on. Trading is combat. One of us is going to get their ass kicked, and one of us isn't. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Don't agree with this. Don't do it, or do the other side of the trade. That's what's great about being an options trader. Kevin, or you could do both. You're exactly right. Right? So, anyway. All right, man, I went way too long. I apologize for that, but that was needed. I will post. This is awesome. I have this saved as a favorite because this is good. This is a warning, Will Robinson. And hopefully you've learned that at these times, that is the time to, if you haven't been hedging all, remember folks, everything we do at Top Gun Options is hedged. These are more treads, right? A trade that serves as a hedge. So there's the link to this article. You should print it out, grab a highlighter, and just kind of reread it, right? Bob, Wiz, Rut, November 2,600 puts, unless it's a typo. Someone just purchased 36 million puts. What? I want to look into that. When was it? What did you say, Bob? Nove 2,600 puts. Nove 2,600. Where we were? Nove 2,600. Nove, the AM, yeah. Our Noves, 2600s according to Fidelity. You're welcome, Pam. I can't even. Do I have the? Yeah, here we go, 2600s. I'm not seeing that yet. Mike, do you ever do leaps? I used to do leaps all the time. So the answer is no right now. So I, so Mike, um, the answer was yes. Hell, back here, folks, I said what? It's seasonal trade time. It's time to do leaps on Amazon, XLY, Visa, XRT. We were going to be launching missiles. That's over. The next time I will be taking a look at leaps will be after something happens in October and after the elections. Folks, do not do a leap right now. If Joe Biden wins the election, the market will be down 25% in the blink of an eye. I'm telling you, that's a fact. It might start selling off before election night if Biden looks to be ahead in the polls. So, Mike, I used to do leaps all the time. It is not an attack. It's not a tactic appropriate for us right now. Don't get me wrong. I think Amazon 3 years from now is going to be a $4,000 stock or 5,000. But this turbulence, I'd rather when, not if, when the market implodes in October or November or whatever happens to try and throw the election, then I'm going to load the boat. Or, well, I don't know, folks. I don't know. That's too Nostradamus for me. If Joe Biden wins and you got Elizabeth Warren as the head of the Senate Finance Committee, Mr. Bezos, we've called you here today because we're breaking up your company. Oh, Jamie Dimon, we know you're a limousine liberal, but we hate Wall Street CEOs and we're throwing you in jail. Folks, I'm not shitting you. This is going to happen. I know this is going to happen. Exactly, Karen. It is a long summer yet to decide. I can't. Mike, it's a great question. I love leaps. Accelerated retirement was supposed to be, is that type of portfolio. Hop in our jet, America, look forward. Hop in my jet right now. I want to be fully armed because I don't know where I'm landing, if it's going to be safe. Okay. Nice turnaround in the market today. Yeah, Apple is running. Everybody get out of there if you're in weekly options. Nice one-day trade, 70, or what did I get? 60% profit there. And Amazon too. You're welcome. Absolutely. Separate service, but see the rest of my comment because it is specific to one stock, not the market. My mindset is that people are going to move out of the cities, riots and no police, and need to buy lawnmowers, snow blowers, etc. Briggs and Stratton, BSG hasn't recovered and could go to zero. And the Jan 21 calls are cheap. Mike, everything I just answered stands. First of all, I don't trade Briggs and Stratton. I have zero knowledge about the company. Folks, nothing will survive the October surprise intact. The FAGMs might take a bloody lip, but Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft aren't going out of business. Folks, I'm telling you, October's going to be ugly. Mike, if they're that cheap and they hit your radar as it would be stupid not to buy these, then that's all you need to know. If your commit criteria for getting into Briggs and Stratton out to the future is that solid, then you do it. I would not. I would absolutely not. Folks, every one of those, every letter in that acronym is a nightmare. All Iran would have to do is a rocket attack and kill a couple Marines or soldiers. God forbid. What's Trump do? Iran, a week before the election, lights off a nuke test in the desert. A nuclear test, folks. Cream of some young guy lights off a nuke test. The president for the past couple of years has done what? Yeah, the dear great leader, good dude. I walked into North Korea. He hasn't tested anything, folks. That's two letters, Iran and N in DRINC. And we haven't even started with China and Russia. Folks, you think Putin's sitting in wherever he sits going right now like, we're going to sit this election out. Come on, man. And the Democrats kneeling yesterday with their African garb on. I mean, come on, for the love of God and all things holy. They will do whatever it takes. Now, that is not to say that Donald Trump ain't going to try. He's a fighter. You think this guy's going to go down, just take one for the team? I do think that the United States Attorney is going to indict Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Strozik, Page. And the President of the United States in October will declassify everything, and it will go to the top. Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden knew about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden requested General Flynn to be unmasked. He was one of the people who requested it, and he lied. He on TV said, General Flynn, I wasn't president, meaning I did. Your signature, Mr. Vice President, is on an unmasking request with the National Security Agency. Why? So, folks, it's going to get ugly. There's a storm right here. But again, hopefully by then we're all out of prison and we can do a live event. I'd love to, maybe we do one post-election in November, and I'd love to be wrong. Everybody gets a bottle of Camus if I'm wrong. And I want to be wrong, folks. I don't want to see a shit show in October. All it's doing is destroying this country. Whatever's going to happen, whatever October surprise is going to be awful. I don't want Americans killed overseas. I mean, seriously, folks, I'm here to scare the shit out of you so you're sufficiently prepared. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke. I'm flying around this battle space right now, folks, looking at a lot of potential threats, but I'm having a good time with a smile on my face. Apple, Amazon, all sorts of shit. Might even get into some EWZ calls finally and listen to myself. David, that's not a bad idea. You should be live during election night. I'd pay. I sat outside. I had a little bit of an agreement with an options, some other dude in the space that I don't work with anymore, who just is an absolute limousine, couldn't stand Trump. I'm like, not only does the president win, the market will rally. You're an idiot. Okay. 3 o'clock in the morning. Ring, ring. What's up, idiot? Exactly, David. Ooh, TGO live election coverage. I'm in. Guys, I might do that. I'm writing that down. TGO election night coverage. We watch the futures. Maybe we'll tap into election night coverage. Ooh, I got that. Good idea, folks. All right, man, I got to run. I'll get the replay posted here shortly, and with those trades, folks, enjoy the rally. Enjoy this, and John Thomas, I totally F this move. Yeah, that guy. All right, guys, good stuff. I had a great break. This was a good time. I had a lot of fun. This is fun until somebody puts their eye out. Keep one hand ready to bring it up to your eyes, man, and don't get poked in the eye. Enjoy this. Enjoy if we run the 3,400, but tomorrow in accelerated retirement, we're talking about Uncle Jerome. Tomorrow's going to be fantastic. He's got to walk this razor tomorrow. He's got to walk this razor of things are getting better, but things suck. And it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts. Do they take it as a buy signal because 51% of it was good that he said, or a sell signal because he's saying things are bad? But remember, even if he says things are bad, that means he ain't going anywhere. Okay? All right, guys. Awesome. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. God bless you all. And I'm very thankful for you. I'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you.